The cryptocurrency markets staged an incredible rally over the weekend, but right now we are facing a very critical moment for Bitcoin and really the entire cryptocurrency industry as the US infrastructure bill continues to grind its way through the legislative process. In this video, I'll break down the good, the bad, the ugly that is happening with that infrastructure bill, as well as taking a look at some of the technicals that are telling us what the heck is happening in the market right now. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing, so if that's a topic that you would like to learn some more about, make sure you subscribe to the Lark Davis channel. Gently tap on the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and click on the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. So let's go ahead and dig into the charts to get started off with. This is the weekly charts. We just had our weekly close, so time, as every week, to take a little peek and see what is happening here. Now, I really like this. This actually looks really nice because we had a candle closing its body completely above this green line, which is that area of previous price resistance for Bitcoin. You can see it acted as resistance here, and also here, and also in this area too. So to see these candles closing above, that's nice. That looks really, really good. So it's signifying basically that Bitcoin is potentially looking at a major price breakout here, which is a good thing. Unless, of course, it's all a giant fake out by the bears. This is the exit pump of all exit pumps. The scam pump takes all your money from you. Look, I mean, realistically, I think we do have to acknowledge that I am very bullish, mind you, but I think we need to acknowledge that right now we do have this unprecedented situation with this bill going through Congress right now that could have some pretty bad implications for the cryptocurrency industry. And it's actually amazing to see how hard the price rallied in spite of that potential fear around the uncertainty of this regulation. Also, let's take a look here at the weekly MACD. This gives us more reason to be bullish at a technical level. So we can see here when we had our bearish crossover for the MACD, and this was actually back in April, that basically signaled the market was cooked, game done, game over, sorry, price go down. And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, you can see the MACD plummeted with the prices. Now, what we're seeing here is a potential, has not confirmed yet, so you need to keep that in mind, but we're looking at a potential bullish crossover on the weekly for the MACD for Bitcoin. This is a very important indicator because looking at this on the weekly really helps smooth it out in terms of looking at the bigger picture of what the heck is actually going on in the market. So if we confirm that bullish crossover, I think that'd be a really positive thing for the market. Now let's zoom in to the daily here, have a picture at what's going on as well. Obviously, MACD on the daily still looking fantastic, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the coming bullish cross, the golden cross coming up for the 50 and the 200-day exponential moving averages. Before we do that, just look at this. This is just cute. I like this. Breakout, coming back down, retesting previous resistance, flipping it into support, rocketing higher. That's some textbook stuff there. I do like that. Now, if the price does come down more over the next few days based on FUD around this bill, then definitely be looking for areas around $40,000 and again down here around $38,000 as price support. Interesting areas to put your orders in at. Now, let's bring up the moving averages here, get that green line off of our chart. These are the exponential moving averages. The 50-day here is in orange. The 200-day is in blue. You can see we had our death cross for these back here in June. The price did go down quite a bit. It was down a lot on that day. And of course, we bottomed out here for the market at $29,300. Right now, though, we are in the process of moving towards, again, not confirmed until we actually get the crossover happening. Now, at the current rates, that could actually come by the end of the week, potentially. But until it actually confirms, it is not confirmed, right? But we are definitely moving towards that golden cross situation for the exponential moving averages here. That's, again, a nice bullish indicator for the markets. And another interesting one that we can have a look at here is the hash ribbons. So the hash ribbons are basically coming up to a buy signal, very, very close here at the moment. Had we had another day or two of bullish price action, they would have flipped over into a buy signal time. But you can see generally they do pretty well at calling these market reversal situations. Here was a buy signal on the hash ribbons. That was back when Bitcoin was at $20,000. Here was another buy signal on the hash ribbons. This is back when Bitcoin was at $9,000. And we, of course, had a massive capitulation event for the hash ribbons. And we are approaching, again, not confirmed, have not confirmed it yet, but we are approaching a buy signal for that as well. So we're seeing currently there's a lot of, I think, bullish price action going on. We have a lot of indicators which are about to have bullish crossovers. These are major indicators. The EMA golden cross, the MACD crossover, the hash ribbon buy signal. We do have a lot of confluence coming together here for these major indicators. We had that nice retest of support as well for that key area of resistance for Bitcoin. So a lot's going on here that makes us bullish on Bitcoin. But then, of course, there's the infrastructure bill. We're going to get to that in just a second. I just want to share this real quick with you. So this was the article that JP Morgan published on May 19th. Well, CNBC published it, but it's what JP Morgan was saying. So this is May 19th. May 19th was the peak of the sell-off. They were saying big institutional investors are dumping Bitcoin and going back into gold. Manipulator King JP Morgan. Never. This is just, let's just backdate the reality of what happens when you listen to JP Morgan, because these guys are not on your side. Always do the opposite of what they say until they figure out that we're doing the opposite of what they say and then do what they say, or it's a 3D chess. Anyway, besides the point, had you listened to JP Morgan back then, sold your Bitcoin at $30,000, well, you would have missed out on the 45% price rise that has happened since that time. It's been pretty exciting over the last week or so. And your gold would be down by 10%. That's how JP Morgan plays the game. You lose, and then you lose again. Don't play that game. Don't play that game. Don't play JP Morgan's game. Pretty interesting, though, to see how wrong JP Morgan gets it. Because, well, they're not getting it wrong, but they're telling it to you wrong. Because they want to take the money from your pocket and put it into their pocket. That's the game they play. By the way, if you want to trade cryptocurrencies, if you want to long or short Bitcoin or Ethereum or Dogecoin, whatever you might be after for trading, you need to get yourself an account over on Bybit. Is the best exchange for trading futures in crypto. You can get up to a $600 bonus for making your first trades over here on the platform. And right now they're also running a $1,000 deposit bonus. So you can deposit up to 1 Bitcoin to get up to $1,000. There's smaller amounts you can deposit as well to also get some really good bonuses. Use the link down below in the description to start your account so you can be eligible for those $1,600 in trading bonuses over on Bybit. Now, let's talk about the infrastructure bill, man. There's some crazy stuff going on right now. I've been watching the situation over the weekend, tweeting a lot about it, retweeting a lot of people who are much more clued in than me, much more up to date on the situation. People are actually there lobbying in Washington, D.C. and stuff. So make sure you're following me on Twitter to stay up to date with all this stuff. Get the information before I make a video on it. Anyway, so it's pretty interesting. I would just like to say, before we dig into the bits, how big crypto has actually become. Think about this. We have right now the infrastructure bill, which is in part being stalled by the negotiations on how to regulate the cryptocurrency industry. That's pretty impressive. If you had told me at the start of the year, like, hey, there's going to be a major infrastructure bill in the United States that's being held up by cryptocurrency regulations, I'd be like, well, that's crazy. Maybe everything can happen in crypto, but that's kind of crazy. And that's exactly what's happening. We also have headlines like this: Senate sits on divided on regulation of the cryptocurrency industry. So pretty cool stuff. That's the front page of the Washington Post. So crypto has made it to the biggest halls of power and is being talked about by all the politicians in Washington right now, which is pretty interesting stuff. Jake Chervinsky here, a great account to follow, by the way, to stay up to date with all the legal stuff going on. He's basically a crypto lawyer, so check him out. He's a great follow over on Twitter as well. But he said 2 sitting U.S. senators walking onto the floor having a serious conversation about crypto taxes. We have arrived, and he's absolutely right. It's incredible to think how big and serious the cryptocurrency industry has become. A little more than 10 years ago, some dude named Satoshi Nakamoto made Bitcoin. Now, 10 years later, I guess 11 or 12 years later, but anyway, a little more than a decade later, we have, it's everywhere. You can't not talk about crypto. Regulators are talking about it. Lawmakers are talking about it. Politicians have to talk about it. Everybody has to have an opinion on crypto nowadays. And the crazy thing is that the whole cryptocurrency market cap's like, what, 1.6 or $1.7 trillion right now? It's a baby. It's a baby. The entire cryptocurrency industry is worth less than Apple. It's worth less than Microsoft. It's worth less than a few other big companies. And that's all crypto combined. We've arrived. But we're still kind of early, which is very, very exciting from an investment perspective. Now, the bill itself, as mentioned, if it goes forward as is, there's a lot of provisions in it which basically form an attack on the cryptocurrency industry in the United States. And it's basically all coming from this lady, Janet Yellen. She's the current U.S. Treasury Secretary. Of course, she was famously trolled by this guy who held up the buy Bitcoin written down on a ledger pad behind her during a meeting a few years ago. Pretty epic stuff from that guy. But apparently, that was one troll too many for her, and she's had it out for Bitcoin ever since then. So she basically, her and her Treasury Department, they basically wrote up this legislation, handed it off to some guy who knew nothing about crypto but was an elected politician, and he just slipped it into the infrastructure bill along with all the other pork barrel stuff that's in there. This is a big attack on the cryptocurrency industry. It essentially is going to make your average staker, your average user, have to act like a broker, which is completely impossible for regular users to do. Would also be pretty harsh on the mining industry, same kind of regulations. Lots of bad stuff comes out of this. This would be definitely a big handout to Wall Street in terms of pushing people into Wall Street-based products. We have Gary Gensler out there talking about, sure, we're going to do a Bitcoin ETF, but based off of CME futures, which are paper-backed contracts, which essentially mean nothing. Air. Based off of air. Not real Bitcoin, just air. That's the kind of products that Washington and Wall Street want to sell to regular users. And I don't like it at all. What's to like about that? There's nothing to like about that. They're trying to crush innovation, crush an industry that is rising incredibly. Sure, collect the taxes, put tax provisions in, but don't do it in such a way that you're going to crush an industry, force innovation overseas, because that is, of course, the only thing that's going to result from this. Maybe we're going to get a pretty epic dip if we do get this bad legislation passed. That would be great. I'd buy some more dip. It's not going to kill the crypto industry. It's not going to stop Bitcoin. It's not going to stop Ethereum. It's not going to stop all the innovation going on in cryptocurrency. If authoritarian China couldn't stop crypto, America's not going to stop crypto. That's if, of course, the bad legislations get through that have all these sort of onerous requirements on users. Now, where are we at right now? This is from Jerry Brito. He's been lobbying, keeping us up to date what's going on in the situation. He said that Senator Portman came out and said in his floor statement that miners, stakers, and other similar validators, as well as node operators and developers, are not going to be covered by his provision. Now that is, of course, really big and important because that's the biggest fear right now, is that all of these different groups are going to be covered by these provisions. Unfortunately, the actual legislation being passed kind of implies that all these groups are going to be covered, and they haven't changed the language. So this is the thing. He's saying one thing, like, oh yeah, all those people are going to be exempted, but then he's writing another thing that will actually, end up being in the legislation if it passes as is. So now there's been a big effort by Senators Wyden, Toomey, and Loomis to get an amendment put through that would very clearly state the language necessary to basically make sure innovation stays in the USA, to make sure that these onerous or potentially onerous provisions are not enacted, without saying, well, I'm saying one thing and I'm going to legislate another way with the actual language of the writing in the bill that I'm going to put in. They're actually saying, no, let's actually change the language of the bill. However, right now, it seems like we're in a situation where the Wyden, Toomey, Loomis amendments are not going to go through. Now, we did actually have Ted Cruz here coming out saying that he was going to put up an amendment to basically say, let's just strike all the crypto stuff from the bill, that it's unworkable, it's bad for the crypto industry. Let's just get it out of there. We'll talk about it later. Let's legislate this at another time. Take some time to do it. Actually do it appropriately. Now, that also, unfortunately, doesn't seem like it's going to get anywhere, because what has come out is that Chuck Schumer basically said there'll be no votes on any amendments. So the Wyden, Toomey, Loomis amendment, no vote going to be on that. That's the one that we really, really needed, right? These are the people who understand the cryptocurrency industry, who've been working on the crypto industry for years. They actually said, hey, we can make this work. You want to just blast through some legislation? Great. Here's what's going to work. Here's what's going to be good for the cryptocurrency industry. Here's what's going to keep the cryptocurrency industry in America. And we're going to partake in that innovation and benefit from that just in the same way that we did with the internet. There will be no vote on that amendment. In the same way, there's not going to be any vote on Ted Cruz's amendment to just get it the heck out of there, and we'll talk about it later. So that seems to be where we are right now. It seems like it's simply going to be a vote yes or no on the infrastructure bill. So this is in the Senate right now. So this is going to be a vote by the senators. There's a bipartisan support largely for this bill right now. So that means the bill's going to probably pass the Senate with the bad provisions for cryptocurrency stuck in there. And now it's going to go over to the Congress. As Charles Hoskinson says here, he says, it's time to move on to the House. Let's light up the phones. There's 435 Congress critters, as he calls them. Probably a pretty apt description. But hey, we got to work with these guys. So time to start calling all of the Congress people, because it seems like, and the bill has not been voted on yet in the Senate. Has not been voted on, has not happened yet. It's probably going to happen tomorrow. But it seems like the Senate is going to pass the bill. It seems at this stage that the bad legislation is going to be in that bill, and that it's now going to pass over to the Congress. President Biden has already come out strongly in favor of Janet Yellen's proposals here, which are the bad proposals. Going to go over to Congress now. So hopefully Congress actually is able to get something done on this, but maybe not. Maybe not. And look, I just want to say, when it comes to legislation and stuff like this, I think we all get overly fearful of regulatory stuff. And I just want to make it clear, if the worst provisions of this bill pass, it's It's not the end of the cryptocurrency industry. It's not going to kill Bitcoin. It's not going to kill Ethereum. It's not going to stop people from staking. People are just going to keep doing it. You understand this, right? Just in the same way that people in China kept buying Bitcoin, kept buying Ethereum, kept staking stuff, people in the USA are just going to keep doing it too. It just makes it harder for people to get access to these things. It makes innovation harder. It forces people more into centralized services. So imagine this, you're still going to be able to stake your Cardano, for example. Since we're talking about Charles here, you're still going to be able to stake your Cardano. You're just not going to be able to stake it yourself legally, right? Without getting a broker license. So you'll be able to do it via an exchange. You can go to Coinbase or Kraken or whoever, and you'll be able to stake it via them, and they can then do all the reporting stuff necessary. But it's taken the hands out of the power out of the hands of the users. And obviously, the whole point of crypto was to help us get away from centralized services and to be able to stake for yourself, to be able to do these things, to use these DeFi services and all this stuff. So the fight's not over. The bill has not passed into law yet, although it looks like it's now going to be going over to Congress, pending, of course, the vote in the Senate. So again, we'll keep you up to date on how this bill continues to play out, but I feel like if this goes through as is, then the US is making a big mistake strategically. They could be the guys for the crypto industry. They have so much innovation, so many people who are building in this industry in the United States. It could be another internet opportunity for them. Unless they screw it up, which they seem to be trying to. Anyway, your question for today. Do you think that the worst provisions of this bill are basically going to go into law, or do you think that there's a chance that it's going to get stopped, maybe in the House of Representatives? What do you think? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.